Let's be honest. After 50, your body doesn't respond quite like it used to. Energy dips, recovery takes longer, and even the most private parts of your health start sending signals that something's changed. But here's the thing. Those changes aren't just about aging. They're about circulation, hydration, and how your body fuels itself from the inside out. Curiosity is one of the most powerful tools in communication, especially when the goal is to break through skepticism and engage an audience that has heard every health promise under the sun. When introducing a topic like drinking water to improve erections after 50, the key is to begin with a hook that challenges assumptions, something that makes people pause, lean in, and think, wait, what did they just say? Most men over 50 have been told for years that their challenges in sexual health are simply a natural consequence of aging, something they must accept or medicate away. By leading with a statement that connects something as basic as water to something as deeply personal as vitality and performance, you immediately create a moment of curiosity. The goal isn't shock for the sake of attention, but intrigue that's rooted in truth. A good curiosity hook works because it reframes the familiar. Everyone knows they should drink water, but few understand the direct link between hydration and vascular function, the very foundation of erections. When an audience hears that the way they drink water might influence blood flow, they were not just listening to a health tip. They're experiencing a perspective shift. That shift primes the brain to be receptive to science and lifestyle advice that follows. It transforms a passive listener into an active participant ready to absorb and apply new information. The tone of this hook must balance boldness with professionalism. It's not about embarrassment or exaggeration, but about giving permission to talk openly about men's health, something that's often clouded in silence or discomfort. Using an engaging tone, perhaps with a hint of surprise and warmth, establishes a safe, credible space. When people feel understood and unjudged, their curiosity naturally deepens. The opening curiosity hook also serves another function. It creates emotional resonance. Curiosity is not only intellectual, it's emotional. It sparks hope. When someone hears that a simple daily habit could have a powerful impact, they feel a renewed sense of possibility. That's what makes curiosity such a vital first step. It bridges the gap between skepticism and empowerment, transforming just another health talk into an invitation to rediscover control, vitality, and confidence through one surprisingly simple act. Empathy and understanding are the heart of any message that addresses men's health after 50 because this stage of life often brings quiet frustrations that many are reluctant to share. It's not just about physical changes, it's about the emotional weight that comes with them. Many men begin to notice shifts in stamina, mood, and sexual performance, yet they often internalize these experiences as signs of decline or inadequacy. When a speaker acknowledges these realities openly and compassionately, it immediately builds trust. The goal is to speak to that unspoken experience, the silent concern that maybe their best years are behind them, and replace it with reassurance that change is both possible and normal. Empathy doesn't mean pity. It means understanding the human side of science. A man who has spent decades taking care of his family, working hard, and pushing through life's demands may not have prioritized hydration, nutrition, or self-care. When his body begins to respond differently, he might feel frustrated or even disconnected from himself. Addressing these emotions directly, with respect and without judgment, lets him know that his experience is valid and that he is not alone in it. That sense of shared understanding is the first step toward inspiring genuine change. Speaking with empathy also means using language that uplifts rather than lectures. Instead of telling men what they've done wrong, it's more powerful to remind them how much potential their bodies still hold. The message becomes one of partnership. Your body is not broken, it's adaptable. This approach reframes the narrative from loss to renewal. It tells the listener that while aging brings natural shifts, there are still practical, science-backed ways to support vitality, and hydration can play a meaningful role in that process. Empathy ensures that the topic of sexual health is treated with dignity. When an audience feels respected, they are far more open to learning. Acknowledging vulnerability in this context creates connection rather than discomfort. It invites men to see this conversation not as a critique, but as an act of care, a reminder that tending to their health is a form of strength, not weakness. Through understanding and compassion, the message becomes clear. Improving health after 50 isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming balance, confidence, and self-respect through mindful, informed choices. When introducing the science-based teas, the goal is to ignite curiosity through credibility, to let the audience know that what's coming next isn't just motivational talk, but rooted in real human physiology. Men over 50 appreciate honesty and facts, especially when it comes to their health, so weaving in scientific reasoning early builds trust and engagement. The key is to strike the right balance, give just enough scientific insight to intrigue without overwhelming. This moment is not about dumping data, but about revealing that the connection between water and erections isn't random or exaggerated. It's about biology working the way it's designed to. Hydration plays a crucial role in blood circulation, and circulation is at the core of erectile function. Erections depend on healthy blood vessels, smooth endothelial function, and adequate nitric oxide levels. When the body is dehydrated, blood becomes thicker, flow slows down, and blood pressure regulation becomes less efficient. Over time, that can affect how well the vascular system delivers oxygen and nutrients to tissues, including those that respond during arousal. A brief explanation of this science, delivered clearly and confidently, helps the audience understand that hydration is not just about quenching thirst, but about optimizing function on a cellular level. The delivery of the science must feel human, not clinical. Using analogies or relatable imagery helps make the information digestible. For instance, comparing hydrated blood flow to a well-oiled machine or a clean river moving freely through its channels helps listeners visualize what's happening inside their bodies. This approach keeps the talk grounded and engaging, allowing men to feel both informed and inspired. When science is introduced this way, it does more than explain. It validates experience, builds trust, and motivates action rooted in understanding rather than fear or frustration. Empowerment is the bridge between understanding and action, and when speaking to men over 50 about health, it becomes one of the most powerful elements of communication. Many in this age group have spent years hearing that aging means inevitable decline, that energy, stamina, and sexual health will simply fade with time. This mindset can quietly erode confidence and motivation. The key to empowerment is to challenge that narrative with truth and possibility by emphasizing that small, consistent actions, such as drinking water intentionally, can produce meaningful physiological improvements. What makes this tease effective is how it links a familiar habit to a complex process in a way that feels empowering. By framing hydration as a key to supporting nitric oxide, the molecule that helps blood vessels relax and expand, the audience begins to see how simple daily choices can directly influence something as vital as sexual health. It moves the conversation from surface-level wellness advice to meaningful biological insight, transforming a common act into a conscious practice with measurable benefits. The message shifts from helplessness to control. Empowerment reminds them that their body is still responsive, capable, and worthy of care. This point is not about promising miracles. It's about awakening awareness. Most men underestimate the impact of hydration on their daily function. By reframing something ordinary as an opportunity for strength and vitality, empowerment transforms routine into ritual. The message becomes that they don't need to overhaul their lives, buy expensive supplements, or chase quick fixes. They simply need to start honoring their body's most basic needs. This simplicity makes change accessible and believable. When a man realizes that he can begin improving circulation, focus, and energy by something as natural as drinking water the right way, he starts to see his health not as a burden, but as a choice he can influence. Finally, empowerment is emotional as much as it is practical. It speaks to identity, to the desire to feel strong, vibrant, and connected again. When men realize they can take ownership of their health, it creates momentum. They no longer see water as just a drink, but as a tool for reclaiming energy, confidence, and performance. This mindset shift transforms hesitation into hope and inspires consistent action rooted in belief that small steps truly can create lasting change. Maintaining a respectful tone is essential when addressing topics that touch on men's sexual health, especially in the context of aging. Respect ensures that the message remains credible, professional, and inclusive while still being direct and engaging. Many men feel uncomfortable or even embarrassed discussing issues like erections or vitality, so the way these subjects are framed can make the difference between shutting down and opening up. A respectful tone creates an environment where the audience feels safe to listen, learn, and reflect without judgment. It acknowledges that these concerns are deeply personal and valid, not something to be mocked, dismissed, or sensationalized. When speaking about health, after 50, respect also means recognizing experience. These are men who have lived full lives, faced challenges, and built resilience. Speaking to them should never sound patronizing or corrective. Instead, it should feel like a conversation between equals, grounded, intelligent, and understanding. The language used should focus on empowerment rather than inadequacy, on solutions rather than problems. For example, saying your body is adjusting and needs new forms of support sounds dignified, whereas your body is failing evokes shame. That distinction defines how the message will be received. A respectful tone also ensures the conversation remains rooted in science rather than hype. It acknowledges that sexual function is not just about performance, but about overall vascular health, mental well-being, and lifestyle balance. When facts are presented calmly and clearly, the message carries more weight. Listeners are more likely to trust the information when they sense integrity behind it. Respectful communication builds credibility. It signals that the goal is education, not entertainment or exaggeration. In addition, respect helps normalize the conversation around men's health. Too often, discussions about sexual wellness are either overly clinical or awkwardly humorous. By choosing language that's clear, human, and compassionate, the speaker helps remove stigma. The audience feels seen rather than targeted, and that shift encourages honest engagement. They begin to understand that taking care of sexual health isn't about ego or embarrassment. It's about overall vitality and quality of life. Respect allows truth to be delivered with care, transforming a sensitive subject into a motivating dialogue about self-awareness, longevity, and the simple habits like hydration that support a thriving, confident life beyond 50. The promise of insight is what keeps an audience leaning in, eager to discover the how behind the message. It's the spark that transforms passive interest into active anticipation. When someone hears that the way they drink water could influence something as vital as blood flow, energy, or sexual health, they naturally want to know more. This is where the speaker's role becomes crucial, not to give everything away at once, but to hint at the valuable information that's coming. The promise of insight isn't about hype, it's about building. Empowerment also comes from language. Every word should affirm capability and self-worth. Instead of focusing on what's lost, focus on what's still possible. The body, even after 50, is remarkably adaptable. It constantly regenerates, heals, and recalibrates when given the right support. Reminding men of this resilience helps rebuild confidence in their biology. It reframes hydration from a passive act to a deliberate form of self-respect, an everyday investment in long-term vitality, a bridge between curiosity and understanding. It invites the listener to trust that the explanation ahead will be meaningful, evidence-based, and personally relevant. For men over 50 who have often been inundated with quick fixes and empty claims, this promise must be grounded in authenticity. They've heard it all before: pills, powders, miracle diets. So when someone says, drink water like this and it could improve your erections, it must be delivered with scientific confidence and genuine intent. The promise here lies in the subtle assurance that what follows is not another gimmick, but a practical, physiological truth they can apply. This subtle honesty keeps the audience emotionally connected while intellectually intrigued. It gives them hope without false expectation. The art of promising insight also involves emotional pacing. You want the audience to feel that they're about to learn something new that could genuinely make a difference. This anticipation creates engagement, focus, and even a sense of empowerment before any advice is revealed. It's about planting the seed that a small, accessible change, like altering hydration habits, can have ripple effects on circulation, energy, and confidence. By suggesting that deeper understanding is just around the corner, you create a natural momentum that carries the listener forward. When crafted skillfully, the promise of insight also reassures the audience that the speaker respects their intelligence. It signals that this isn't a surface level talk, but a meaningful exploration of how the body works and how simple habits can support it. It elevates the tone from motivational to educational, blending credibility with curiosity. In doing so, it transforms what could be an awkward or overlooked topic into an empowering opportunity for growth, inviting men to rediscover vitality through knowledge, awareness, and small daily choices that truly matter.